I often equate being dressed up as like walking along a street with a really good-looking woman, except like I am the good-looking woman inside myself. I'm fascinated with the whole sort of psychology of sexuality and how we become the sort of sexual beings we are and what shapes our sexuality. It's always been my natural creative pathway to externalize my subconscious. I want to make things that kind of don't quite fit with decorativeness. You could be profound and decorative. I like the fact that pottery is quite a difficult medium to communicate with. It's always asserting itself as an attractive object. I'm making these very pretty things, and maybe the subject matter isn't. And that's, for me, where the sparks fly in the work, you know, when it's really working, is that subtle interplay. And I want people to, you know, constantly go, oh, that's lovely, ooh, oh, ooh, ah, you know, and that pull is where the work works, if you like. Playing on the fact that people are seduced into the very detailed, pretty surfaces of my work. And if they get there close enough to enjoy the visual eye candy, then they will also have to confront the subjects that I deal with. I suppose that's me, kind of like consumer culture me. Kill all middle-class southern men. Sex and religion equals shopping. Heteros murder children. When I was about 8, I had my first ever pottery lesson at school, and we had to wear these sort of rubber smocks to protect our clothes. And I remember the one that I was given to wear was a bit tight. And the teacher came round to sort of snap me into it, I remember. And I was just so turned on by this experience. I made my first pot in a state of erotic excitement, yeah. And, you know, it's a neat idea that it shaped my choice of medium later on. And what shapes our sexuality is how our nurture works on our nature. Often the things that become eroticized are things that are suppressed in childhood somehow, and it's like they kind of re-emerge in puberty, but in an eroticized way. A lot of my work, it has been particularly autobiographical. Claire is my kind of shorthand for my transvestite identity, I suppose. But it is me in a frock. Particularly nowadays, I've kind of given up deceiving people that I'm a woman. For me, it came out of kind of games that I played when I was like young, when I was 12, 10, 12. I remember I had this fantasy about this prison camp. We were being kind of humiliated. And I just suddenly went, oh, yeah, they're going to make us dress as women. That would be really terrible. I kind of fantasized about that, and it was such a turn on. The next day I said to my sister, oh, can I borrow some of your dresses? I'll try this out. And then, like, that was it. I was sold on it. Boys aren't cherished as much as girls. I think that's certainly, for me, is one of the kind of fonts of transvestism. In a childish imagination, which hasn't got a sophisticated grasp of psychology, a boy will feel that subconsciously he's feeling that girls are getting something that he wants. So therefore he kind of, like, in a crude way, thinks, well, what is it about girls that's different? And so he kind of, you know, thinks, oh, dresses, you know, acting prissy. You know, deep down they wanted just to be cherished, you know, and looked upon as precious and worthwhile for just being a beautiful child, you know, which boys aren't. You know, boys are always kind of like, oh, you did well at sports, son, or good exam grades. My stepfather was incredibly male, you know, and when they eventually did find out, he banned me from seeing my stepbrothers. He, you know, and the language that was used, it was, you know, and they tried to cure me and all that kind of shit that they always tried to do, send you off to the doctor or whatever and say, you know, and they thought I was gay, of course, as well, you know, the usual set of cliches. Well, she knew I was a tranny before we even dating. I think one of the first sort of times we went out together, not as a couple, but just as friends, really, was to a tranny club. You know, a lot of transvestites, for instance, they've been married for 20 years and their wife never knows, and they've got a little secret wardrobe of clothes in the attic or something. And then their wife finds out somehow, and the wife's really cross, and they're going, oh, she hates me because I'm a tranny. And I go, no, she hates you because you've deceived her for 20 years. Funny is the flip side to profound, I think. And I think the mentality that has a good sense of humour is often the mentality that can find the darker things and more meaningful things in life. I hadn't made any plates for a long time. I just like the idea of him being happy with his big cock. It's kind of a one-shot thing. You know, this pot's called something like Dark Knobs, but it's got kind of various guys with hard-ons on it. Masculinity isn't sort of celebrated in that kind of light, friendly way. It's always a kind of aggressive Schwarzenegger version of it. So why can't we have a kind of a phallus as a flower? On one hand, I'm aware that people are kind of like, oh, it's a willy. On the other hand, I'm thinking, oh, it'd be nice, just do cuddly willies. For sure, I play on the prejudices people have about ceramics, and that is how they work. Even within the art world, there's prejudice, you know, in that they'll accept a can of shit as artwork. I always think of pottery as like the pretentious next-door neighbour who kind of like always trying, you know, oh, look at her, oh, God, she thinks she's fashionable. I don't really get embarrassed these days, you know, and particularly around sexuality. I was talking the other day about masturbation in a seminar, and I was saying that a few years ago I kind of wove the Turner Prize into one of my sex fantasies. And I thought, well, this is a testament to kind of the power of sex magic, I say, because here I am, nominated, you know. What do I wank about next?